Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So I've decided to start a new section called Flick Picks. So what I'm going to be doing is selecting some movies that I always thought were great, or ones that I always watched in the 80s and 90s, and even today, and just kind of talk about it and why I like them. So I decided, to start off the one series that I've always enjoyed, and that's the Cannonball Run. Now, I don't know if a lot of you have seen this movie. It's more popular in the 80s. It still shows up on TV every once in a while. Kind of a small series. They had a sequel. There was the Cannonball Run 2, which I only have on video cassette. I have to get my hands on the DVD. And I believe there was a third one. I think it was called Speed Zone. I rented it once. It's not as good as 1 and 2, but I don't even really consider it as one of the series, part of the series. But anyways, I mean, this movie alone has so many great actors in it. I mean, you got Burt Reynolds, Farrah Fawcett, Dom DeLuise, you got Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin. I mean, it's just so many. The list goes on. Even Jackie Chan makes an appearance in this movie. It's incredible the amount of great actors that they threw into this movie. And this movie, to be honest, I mean, it's not a serious movie. Like, there's nothing serious about it. It's joke after joke. The Cannonball Run is a race. So what they do is all the characters, they find whatever car they're going to be using, and I mean, there's so many weird choices. Like there's a minivan. There's the two main characters, JJ and Victor, which is Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise. They decide to use an ambulance because who's going to stop an ambulance? But what I wanted to talk about was just some of the crazy characters that they have in this movie. I mean, they got a sheik who is, I think he's from Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that. The actor, Jamie Farr, is from MASH, the TV series MASH, and his character is just hilarious. Like, I mean, he's just funny. He plays a better part in the second movie than he does in the first one. The first one, he's kind of just in the background doing his thing, but in the second one, he's hilarious. He actually makes the cannonball race in the second one. But anyways, so the two main characters, they have their ambulance. They have to find a doctor. They have to find a patient, and that's where Farrah Fawcett comes in. So they literally kidnap Farrah Fawcett, which is hilarious. They trick her into getting into the ambulance. They find a doctor. They need a doctor, so they find a proctologist, which they never explain how they find this character. The actor, Jack Elam, I mean, he was more of a serious actor. So to see him in this movie, he's all wild eyes. His eyes are all crazy. He looks nuts. I mean, Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin, they decide to be priests. So they think, if they're priests, nobody's going to pull them over. Because that seems to be the whole thing of this movie, is that how can we get through all these interstates without getting pulled over, without getting tickets, without dealing with the cops. So everybody seems to have their own strategy. So like I said, the main characters, JJ and Victor, they think that because they're in an ambulance, nothing's going to happen. So the priests, which I think you could see Sammy Davis Jr. right there in his priest outfit, they think, they're people of God, who's going to bother them. There's these two women, I believe they're also in the cover. Maybe, yeah, well, there's one of them anyways. So there's these two women that drive a black Lamborghini, and their whole thing is, when they get pulled over, they'll unzip, show a little bit of the, and they'll get off. The joke is that they do it 2 or 3 times and get away with it, but then they finally hit a cop that's a female, and so, it kind of ends at that point. There's even a bizarre part of it where Dom DeLuise keeps referring to himself in this third-person character as him. And what he does is he will put on this mask, this Captain Chaos mask, and then jump out and be like, dun dun dun. It's just weird. Like, he does it throughout the movie, and it seems to be an ongoing part of the movie. He even does it, I believe, in the second one, too. He looks kind of nuts. Actually, you can see him in the thing. He's right there. Anyways, yeah. So he wears this weird mask and cape and calls himself Captain Chaos, which inadvertently is the reason why Victor and JJ lose at the end. Another odd character that they decided to throw in this movie was by Roger Moore, who is playing a character who believes he's Roger Moore. And not only does he believe he's Roger Moore, he believes he's the Roger Moore from the James Bond movie. So the joke is, like, he's actually Roger Moore playing a person pretending to be Roger Moore. And of course he's driving in an Aston Martin, which is kind of hilarious. You know, so he's always got his gadgets going on. He always has a new woman in the passenger seat. Every, like, shot you see him, he's got a different woman. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, there's just so many great characters, so many great actors in this movie. Sadly, most of them have passed on, but, I mean, you just don't see movies like this all the time that have such a great cast. And it's a comedy, so they didn't take this movie seriously. It's just funny. The second one is all right. It's got the same actors. They added a few more characters. Frank Sinatra shows up in this one. What's his name? The guy who plays Jaws from James Bond series. He's in there. I mean, Jackie Chan's back. And the thing I can say about the second one, I think they have more interesting cars. That's about it. Like you see, there's Porsches and just the cars in general are better in the second one. The story is crazier though, and you would think that the first one would be crazy enough, but to be able to follow it up with even crazier stories, and I have to say that the Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin act is my favorite out of the whole movie series. Like Fenderbaum and Blake, that's who they play, and they're just funny. I laugh every time. Now, these series, I think, were related to an actual serious movie called Cannonball. This was David Carradine, and it's 1976. The other ones were in the 80s. So, you know, Cannonball 1 was in 81, and the second one was in 83, I believe. So this one was like 76, and it's a serious movie. But it's the same concept. It's people getting into this race called a cannonball. They have to race across, you know, the interstates. It's the same thing, but this is actually serious. There's violence in this movie. People die, and, you know, it's David Carradine. It's not exactly a comedic actor. So, you know, this movie, it's all right. When I bought this, like, I didn't know that this movie existed, and I saw it in a store. I thought, this has to be something similar to the Cannonball Run series, but it looks a little bit more darker. So I wanted to check it out, and it's not a bad movie. I mean, it was worth it. So it's a little hard to find. I don't think you're going to find it in every Walmart, but yeah, it's a good movie. Check it out. So anyways, I hope you like this new section that I've created. I look forward to doing more, and I hope you subscribe. And leave some suggestions or comments in the section below. Talk to you later.